and welcome to the Amanda Effect. I'm your host, Amanda Dukes, and it's my birthday! Hey! That's why I got the music on. This is my type of birthday music, okay? So y'all gonna have to deal with me. Thank you guys so much for joining me on live. I figured what a better way to celebrate my birthday than go on live. I have an amazing topic for you guys today. I'm so super excited. What is my computer doing? I'm so super excited to be able to share this with you and bring on my special guest. I got a lot going on right now. So first and foremost, I definitely want to just, give you guys the option. If you want to bless your girl for her birthday, the Cash App is right there. Just say happy birthday, Amanda, and I will know what it's for. Thank you guys so much. I'm doing big things. 31 years of being blessed on this earth. I almost didn't make it here, y'all. So I'm taking every day as grateful as I can. So I'm going to go ahead and get started. We're going to go ahead and turn this down. And I'm going to bring on my guest. Her name is Shanelle, and we are going to be talking about basically like the prejudices that happen with biracial kids, women, adults, men, all of that on, from both sides of Black families, white families, Black friends, white friends, all of that, because this is something that doesn't get talked about enough. So this is my contribution to Black History Month, because I think this is a very important topic. I don't think people really realize that this happens more often than not, or they don't care. So we're going to bring it to light, and hopefully you guys care. So let me go ahead and introduce you to Shanelle.
Hi.
So how are you doing this morning? Afternoon?
I'm well. How are you?
I'm doing great. It's my birthday.
Happy birthday. I like the music.
Yeah. Things. Forget that. But how to make sure I didn't get booted off of Facebook. So I really appreciate you coming on and being willing to talk about this. I made a status and you commented on it, and I was like, this is perfect to talk about. And I definitely wanted to get it in for Black History Month, but with our crazy schedules, this just happened to be the best day to do it, which really worked out because I love this. This is a topic that is very near and dear, close to my heart. So I appreciate you coming on, willing to share your insight as well. So we're going to start with, I guess, the typical one that we always hear as far as, your white side of the family, they either question you or whatever. Explain your experience with that.
So I'm super blessed to have the family that I do have. And can't say that I've experienced anything from my family personally in that way, from the white side of my family in that way, as far as like ever questioning anything or not supporting something, or, you get asked questions sometimes, and I don't think that there always is like malice behind them, but people don't think before they ask or before they say something. So I don't really experience that. It's been more so from other people's families more than my own family, if that makes sense.
No, it does. Just any experience is basically what we're talking about. I think families just always where I start because they're always usually the first encounter, which it's amazing when they're not.
Right.
That's really, really good.
Well, I think too, sometimes, we're talking about both sides giving it to you when you're trying to be proud of your Blackness. So yes, I mean, there are times where people will say stuff like, well, you don't count. If you're talking about racial stuff, a white person will say like, oh, well, you don't count because, nobody sees you like that. Like you're one of the good ones or something like that. How offensive is that to say to somebody?
Exactly. I think that's something that we also need to address is because, I'm all about being real, and I'm very aware of white privilege, although people may not be, but there's a light skin privilege or a biracial privilege that comes with living this lifestyle too. So I think that they're like, oh, that's why they get that you don't count sort of thing. We're the exception. Right. We're the safe Black person. And
right.
I have a problem with that. I mean, I want to use it to my advantage and to the advantages of my Black community. But at the same time, I also want to point out how terribly disturbing that is. So for me, it definitely would be, and this is, family, friends, people you just met, coworkers and everything, how they would just be like, why are you, why do you basically they feel like I ignore my white side. Like I try not to be white. I don't try to be black either. But
it's their perception, basically, though. Exactly. That's what they're perceiving about you. So
right. And they're like, oh, you're ignoring your white side. Sometimes I'm ignoring my white side. My white side doesn't need attention. I don't have to defend my white side on a regular basis. So when I speak up for things, I'm speaking up for those, for those things that need spoke up for. There's not an issue of the white community being discriminated in. There's not an issue of me looking at my white family and being afraid that they're not going to make it home just because they happen to be in the wrong neighborhood. That only happens with my black side, my black friends, my black family. So you're going to hear my mouth about those things that I'm passionate about. I've never hid the fact that I was mixed. Apparently, though, that's not apparent. Oftentimes when people meet my mom, they're like, that's like I've literally got asked, that's your birth mother. Like,
so I actually had a conversation with two other people that I'm doing another project with, and I was telling them about this, and they were both like, yeah, Shanelle, we had no idea until we met your mother that you were half white. And I'm like, to me, it just, I don't know.
I feel like it's obvious, and it's not like I hide it, but I also don't say, hi, I'm Amanda, I'm mixed, my mom's white. Like, I just don't do that.
And you shouldn't have to, right?
Exactly. But they get so caught off guard. And I remember back in middle school was really when I really felt the need to like choose one side or the other. Because I was friends with everybody. I thought everybody should be my friend, okay? But so I would talk to any and everybody. So that's like where they were like, oh, like, you are basically too black for the white people and too white for the black people. Because I listen to NSYNC. I like Britney Spears. Like,
who doesn't?
Like, what is wrong with y'all? Like, I just like good music. Like, I mean, I like the B2K too, but like boy bands were like the thing. I listened to Destiny's Child, but like it was just the way that I acted. I didn't grow up with a whole bunch of black people around me, so I didn't, develop those, cultures. I was, with my white family that listened to country music because I listened to country music too. Like, first of all, I'm like a jukebox, so you never know what you're gonna get.
I definitely think middle school is when you start to get that, because I mean, when you're even now, I mean, you see it when you're in elementary school kids don't care about anything. They're friends with everybody. They just want to play. It doesn't matter. And then all of a sudden you get to middle school and it's that exact thing, like, well, you're too white, go hang with the white girls, or you're too black, go hang with the black girls. Or I had a white friend who basically told me that her mother didn't want me to spend the night at their house because she didn't want my greasy hair to get all over their pillowcases. And I think that was one of the first times I was like, wow.
Whoa.
I never thought of it that way. I never thought of that.
That's heavy. I can honestly say I've never experienced nothing like that. I'm pretty fortunate, or just was super, super naive when I was younger to not have paid attention to those type of insults. Now there are things, of course, now that I look back, or stories my sisters would tell me, and I'm like, that is jacked up. Why would they say that? Like, I remember, like my family, like my grandma hated when we French braided our hair. She couldn't stand it. She's I don't know. She didn't like it. But she was a white woman that grew up in West Virginia, small town in West Virginia. But she couldn't stand our hair French braided, and we loved it. We thought we was cool, and we didn't have to do our hair every day. I know my mom was having 3 girls. I remember it being such a big deal. And at the time, I didn't pay any attention. Didn't matter. I still braided my hair. But like, looking back, you're like, dang, like, why would that even matter?
Well, yeah, so many things you don't think of in the moment, especially when you're a child and you are kind of naive, because you just are expecting everyone to love you for who you are, especially family members. Like, if there's anybody that should just love you just for you, it should be your family members, regardless of what your hair is like, what your race is, So we're blinded to it because you don't think that somebody that you love is going to say something hurtful like that. So you kind of don't interpret it that way at the time, I think, when you're younger.
Correct. And because why would they? Like, you know, they do love me and they spend time with me. They want to see me. So it's not like they don't love me, but I feel like there were parts of me that they chose to ignore because it was easier for them to accept. I understand that it was different. Like my mom definitely was, you know, she did stuff different. Nobody else had messed with anybody else outside the white race. So she was definitely like she went outside the box. Thanks, mom, though.
Hey, good job, mom.
But so it was different for them. They didn't understand it. And I'm not making excuses, please. You know I'm not. But like I understand now, like, you know, they didn't understand it. It was questioning. They grew up in a time where you did the same thing over and over. What you were taught is what you did. They weren't about going against the grain. They didn't change things when they got older. So they did what they were taught, and they taught their children that, and they were expected to do that as well. So,
which we have to get out of.
Oh, yes. Completely.
Completely. Just because it was something that happened over and over doesn't mean it was right, you know?
Absolutely. And I think that, you know, stopping and thinking about that, especially when you have kids of your own, like, why am I actually doing this? And does it fit that kid? There's things that my mom did for me that does not work for my children.
Yeah, absolutely. And something that might work for your one child might not work for the other one. Everything is catered per person. So
listen, you have no idea this.
That's another episode.
Man, I'm gonna do a whole episode on that for real, because that little boy of mine, I'll take any and all advice. So actually, before we move on, I'm going to backtrack because I got so excited and I literally jumped right in this. First of all, thank you all you guys for tuning in. I see you. Michael, thank you so much for the birthday love. Feel free to comment in the chat, guys. Give your opinions, give your stories. I want to hear your thoughts on what we're talking about. I don't think everybody's going to agree. Ask questions by all means. This is still the Amanda Effect. We're just live. So you come in your most authentic forms. I want to hear all the perspectives. But Shanelle, tell me just what you got going on now, a little bit about yourself and stuff like that, just so people get a feel for you. Like I said, I went backwards. I should have did this first.
Well, I'm Shanelle. No. You know, right now I have our busy schedules. We couldn't get together. I'm busy with doing cookies. That's what I do basically all the time. I think everybody knows that. I would have brought you some birthday cookies today. I should have.
Is it too late?
Let me get in the kitchen. I gotta get off.
Get off. Never mind. The live is done.
I'll bring you some. I got you.
I want those sweatpants cookies my husband decided to tell you not to make me.
Oh my gosh. I was like, I should bake one just because. But he was doing so good.
He was.
But you have a good husband. Off topic, but you have a good husband.
Oh, thank you. I'm pretty fond of him. He got 3 of those cookies out of the whole dozen, by the way. I literally finished them in less than 24 hours, 9 cookies.
You did eat all those cookies?
Unapologetically. The only reason there were some left, because he gave them to me the night before Valentine's Day. The kid just so happened not to be home. We decided to exchange gifts. The only reason there was 2 left for the morning is because I wanted some with my coffee. So
so you saved some.
I did. I made sure there was some there for the next morning. That was it, because I was so unapologetically eating.
You're gonna be in a sugar coma.
My God. Y'all, I dreamed about these cookies. If y'all have not, say it again, Coco. What is it?
Coco made cookies.
Coco made cookies. Go, please, good Lord, go get some cookies. Hit up Shanelle, message her. Best sugar cookies I've ever had in my entire life. And I don't even mess with sugar cookies like that. Yeah. I really don't. I do not. So go get y'all some cookies, because you won't be sorry, period. Point blank. I don't care. You got a cookie for everything. Okay. All right. Sorry. I'm going to let you go.
True. No, thank you. Look, I just put this out for a commercial.
That's it. There you go. I got you. I'll cut it for
you. And also, I have some podcasts in the making right now, some projects that I'm working on. I'm pretty excited about a couple of different things that will be coming hopefully at the end of spring. I'm so busy with so many things. I work a regular job too, so I'm trying to do all that. So
the American dream, right? A full-time job and a hustle.
Right. And then this topic got brought up, and it made me think about doing something around this too, that I think that off air we should talk about and start something that kind of caters to this. Like this came to me thinking of your post, because there's no platform for it at all, because it's pretty much ignored.
Yeah, it is.
The day, like the point of view from a biracial person when dealing with all this things. And right now we're in the middle of all these types of race wars and things like that. And I think that it's ignored on our end a lot.
I think it's terrible that we have to like choose. But in a sense, society makes you choose. Even, filling out college applications, I was like confused on why they made me pick one or the other. I'm like, no, I'm mixed. And then my counselor was like, well, it's more beneficial if you just put that you're African American. And I'm like, okay, like, I don't really think that it did anything, but it also is like, it's a numbers thing. It's so they can see, how many people go to that school. And I didn't want to get chose just because, I was Black. I wanted to get chosen on my merits. But let's be clear. I was no Chrissy, so.
My older sister's a Christy too, so I get it.
Honey had all the merits. I just was. So thanks for the good name, sis. Yeah. And that was some of my biggest issue was like, why did I have to choose? But society almost makes you, and then people get, they get frustrated or judgmental when you decide to choose. And that's the part that bothers me. So when you're in the Black community too, when you grow up mainly around white people and you identify now with the Black community, you don't know some of the Black traditions. Like, no, y'all, I don't know how to play spades. I haven't seen all the grown up Black moves. Like, what's the one I got dogged for? The one where he shot the woman in the foot. What's that movie? I don't even know the name of the dang movie. Y'all go put it in the comments. Somebody help me.
Shot the woman in the foot.
He shot her in the foot. Oh, somebody please put it in the comments. I know y'all know what I'm talking about. Y'all gonna be so mad at me when I can't even get the dang title. Anyway. I didn't see it. I still haven't watched the whole thing. I fell asleep.
So this is one of those, you're not Black enough because you haven't seen it.
Like, oh, and then of course the typical, if you I don't know, that must be your white side coming out.
So okay, so that bothers me too. So if there's a person who's biracial and something like that happens, then it's automatically because they're part white. That's your white side. But then if the same thing for a Black person, if a person who was all the way Black didn't see that movie, what's the excuse then? Or if they don't know how to play spades, you know what I mean? But I also
get your Black card taken.
Exactly. Also, we're so quick to revoke that Black card. Like, who's the judge? Who made that? Who made up when you get to have your Black card revoked?
Right. Who's the deciding factor? Who's coming to take it from me? Because I'm gonna just be waving my card around until somebody comes take it.
And it's the same thing too. I mean, I think I was in middle school when that became apparent to me too, that I wasn't Black enough for the Black people, and a comment that sticks out to me the most is when people say that you talk white. So because I'm articulate, then automatically I talk white, but you're oppressing your own people by even making that comment, by even suggesting the fact that somebody that articulates himself properly speaks white.
Exactly. Oh man, I need y'all to share it. Please share this live, because I'm telling y'all, we about to drop so many gems, because that is something that bothers my core, because white people did not patent proper English. And the fact that you have intelligent Black people walk around today lets you know how far that the Black people had to come, because they weren't giving these opportunities. They had to fight for these opportunities for education and proper English and all that. And the beautiful part about that is we have that wonderful way where we can flip that switch and we can actually go into our ebonics if we want to, and then we can turn that on our professionalism. Like, it's a beautiful transition. I think that we should embrace that more. But if I don't, that whole talk white thing or act white, what does that mean exactly?
Somebody tell us in the comments, what does that mean?
Please.
I know there's somebody watching this that has said that.
I've said it. I'm not gonna say, we've all said it. Like, oh, you talk too Black, or my favorite is when they equate talking ghetto to Black people.
Right.
Ghetto is a place, by the way.
Where people of many different backgrounds live. Go to the ghetto, you'll see. You'll find out. Go outside.
Good kid, and walk right outside.
Right.
It's okay. I love my city. Y'all know I love my city.
But it's a little ghetto.
Exactly. You hold people accountable that you love. But my biggest thing was I always felt the need to be like accepted by everybody. Like I said, I thought everybody should be my friend. High school cured that because they were mean as hell to me. But and I think as being Black women also, this needs to be talked about because a lot of times when we were younger, and understandably, like the Black girls were mean to me. Mean because I had somebody actually tell me that she didn't like me and I was being all nice to her. She couldn't figure out why I was talking to her. She's like, because you walked in all cute with your skirt on, your hair all long. And I was like, and you didn't like me because I was cute? What? I was really confused. So because I wanted to be her friend. Because she was cute. Like what? Like so
See, that's the part that doesn't make sense.
It really does, but I think that there's something beautiful that we can, teach our children too, that like live in your skin. That's why you guys, I'm so big on, being authentic and loving yourself and being true to who you are and standing in that, because that's where your magic is, and teaching our kids that, because you cause so many issues growing up that you don't even know why you're mad at people. You're mad at them because they're light skinned. You're mad at them because they're cute. And then so when guys hit on me and I deny them, it's because I'm a stuck-up light-skinned chick. Okay, fine.
That's exactly what it is, always.
If you need to tell yourself because you weren't taught how to handle rejection, sure, buddy, that's why. But that's the first go-to, and I can't stand it. Like it's got to stop, especially with our sisters, because I love y'all. I wish y'all understood how hard I tried to be y'all when I was young.
Like, that's the thing too. You can't find a spot to fit in where you do feel comfortable because of all the stereotypes and all the things they think that you act like or whatever. So you try so hard and you end up losing yourself, I think, when you're younger, trying to find yourself. And then thankfully, you get a little older and start not to care so much. But I feel like now more so, like our kids' age, there's a lot more biracial people. I always say that one day everybody's gonna be biracial. Nobody likes that, man.
I mean, because it is. We got to be a whole big mixed melted pot, y'all.
But I didn't have I was luckily I had Jackie. She was probably like my first biracial friend, and we could kind of
my sister, y'all. My older sister. This is how I know Shanelle, by the way.
And I think that was like kind of a helpful part of middle school transition to high school for me, was to have somebody that I think we kind of knew what each other was going through, and we didn't even have to talk about. It's not like we had these elaborate conversations about being biracial, but It was kind of like a just known part of our culture, like that we could relate to each other in that way. Exactly.
It's like when you see Black men usually do it, they do like the traditional head nod, like you don't know it. That's just what it is. Like it's a comfort. You didn't have to say anything about it, but no, that's real. I think the first was, it actually was in 6th grade. Her name was Madison. She was the first one who basically was telling them like, y'all leave her alone. Like she can choose, like y'all just mad, yada, yada. And but it was because she was mixed too, that she understood the struggle, but Maddie didn't care. She had no bones about her. So she had my back. But then after that, it was just, one of those things that like, relationships just kind of, spiraled and grew. I remember saying the most toxic thing when I was younger, because I was, being picked on by Black girls and just being picked apart and them hating me because boys I didn't want liked me. And I went home and I cried. And I was like, maybe I should just have white friends because none of the Black girls like me. And I remember being like upset, like so upset, because I wanted nothing more than being accepted by them. And I'm not really sure why. I just think it was because it was a part of me that I didn't, I wasn't around a lot of Black women, like older Black women at the time. I mean, I was, but these weren't people I spent every day with. They weren't like speaking into me. Like I had my older sisters, but they were growing and doing their own thing too. Right. So figuring themselves out. So it was just something like I wanted to be accepted into that. I wanted to be Black enough for them. And it wasn't until, I don't know, y'all, I literally mean like a few years ago, that I was just like, whatever. Like,
You're right.
I'm a late bloomer. It takes me a while to get things. But it wasn't until like, I'm going to love me. And then it just kind of sparked from there. Now, don't get me wrong. I have amazing friends from both races. My best friend since middle school, her name is Teresa, and she's a beautiful Black woman. And I love her to death because she had never once made me ever feel any differently. Now, don't get me wrong. She jokes with me and we talk about hair, but it's never, it's more of a comparison thing. Like, what do you do with yours? I don't think I can do that with mine, but I envy her hair. She envy, like, we envy things about each other. It's just, it doesn't have to be this negative experience or anything like that. We really honestly need to just start talking about this a lot more. And I have an issue. You mentioned kids, so I'm going to bring this up because this is something that's talked about in this women's group constantly that I'm in. And I need people to stop glorifying having beautiful mixed babies. Because this is where the toxicity like stems from, like, oh, y'all would make beautiful mixed babies, or oh, I want to have a beautiful mixed babies. White women, that's not cute to say. Like Black men, it's not funny to say, like, oh, at least we're gonna have some beautiful mixed babies. Like, stop. Why do you want light skin kid for what? You should just want a baby. I don't understand the I don't know.
I think that people that say that, it's ignorant. I don't like the way it sounds either. You should just want a healthy baby. It shouldn't matter. No. I think people, when they say that, though, it's because being biracial has been kind of glorified in a way, as far as being that superior. People think, what is that part of? That got me off guard. Sorry.
To the virtual, y'all.
And it's not that way. I think that it bothers me when I hear Black men say that, as though they are going to have some superior baby because of it, or that their baby's going to be more beautiful because of it. Because at the same time, again, why are you doing that to your own people? And I think that it's a thing with a lot of white women too, that think that it's so cute to have that little biracial baby, and I can't wait to, and it's like, no, why does it matter? Like, can you enjoy the fact of having a baby with somebody that you love, maybe?
Exactly. Because are you also going to love the fact that you have to, teach that baby a little bit about their culture? You're going to have to explain certain things that you may not ever understand to that child, because that's the part that they miss. And then this is when there's problem between women, and it's heavy in the women community as far as, different skin tones and colors, and dark skinned women and light skinned women, because you have now placed it in, a young light-skinned woman's world that, oh, you're better than them because you're light-skinned, or that your mom's white. I fortunately have never thought that. And I've done nothing but want to be a darker skinned Black woman. I was that kid who be out in the sun trying to get darker this summer. But also even that, why? Why would that even be a thing? Why would I not just embrace the skin that I was given? So it's problematic. And I understand that people, their intent isn't to be ignorant, but ignorant in the form of the actual definition. Like, it's the lack of knowing. You have no idea what that does. And when you grow up, and I used to thought it was really weird when people would tell my daughter they loved her skin tone. Like, she was like a child. And I was just like, it made me feel weird. Of course she's beautiful. Like, that's my baby. Of course, everything about her is perfect. Okay. But also that was be like the kind of like, oh my gosh, she's so beautiful. I love her skin tone. And I'm just like, huh? We couldn't leave it at beautiful. I don't understand why that's something to point out. Now, I have the most handsome dark-skinned son that you can find from here to the Middle East. Okay. Like, my baby is gorgeous, but I will literally cut you down at the knees if you tell my son to stay out the sun. Like, oh boy, you need to get in the shade. I have literally dogged people for saying that. Like, no, my baby can go outside and not worry about him because everybody else thinks that being dark is a problem, because I absolutely do not.
And why do that to a child? Why even put that in their head at a young age? And maybe he doesn't understand that right now if he hears somebody say it, but that seed has already been planted for him. It's already hard enough growing up being a Black man, and now you have that seed planted that you're too dark and it's a bad thing.
What is the purpose of that comment? Stop and think about it. What is the purpose of it? Why can't he be in the sun? Y'all talk about kids should be outside, but my dark-skinned son can't be outside because he'll get darker. And what? Be more beautiful? You don't want him to be that handsome? I can understand if it's threatening, but what is the purpose? And it's mainly women. This is why we have to stop this now. We talked about, breaking generational curses and stop doing things just because they were done to us. We say things that were said to us for no reason. There's no purpose to the comment. That comment does not speak life into my child. It doesn't teach him a lesson. It does nothing but harm him and make you sound ignorant. And then I have to act ignorant.
Mama Bear has to come out.
Right. Oh my gosh, that eats at me. Like I can. I literally am like, stop. Because there's
no purpose.
There's literally no purpose. It's like one of those things of that should have stayed in your head. I mean, I don't think it should be in your head either, but at least don't let it come out.
Right. Keep it there if it
is. Exactly. Like if it's there, fine. You're the one who has to deal with it, but don't let that come out around me and mine, because that's trash behavior. And
the fact that you say something to somebody when they say that, though, is what has to happen. You have to understand it's not always about conflict, but these conversations have to be had.
Absolutely. Out loud. Hold on, we have a comment. It says, good combo, y'all. Thank you, John, for your comment, first of all. It says, good combo, y'all, but I've heard a lot of men say they prefer light-skinned women. Yes, this is so true. I have family members who I literally want to gut like a fish who have said this out loud to me. I'm like, did you think I was going to agree with you? I have a beautiful dark-skinned sister. What makes you think that I think that I'm more beautiful than her? Absolutely not. Thank you so much for pointing that out, because this, especially in like the dating pool, right? This is like a thing. And I have no problem with people having preferences. I don't, but I don't need you to say, I think light-skinned women are more beautiful than dark-skinned women. Sit with yourself for 5 minutes and ask why. Because you were told to, because somebody said, don't go in the sun too long. Like, why? Why? Truly think, why do I not think that I want to date a dark-skinned woman? Why? Because, baby, I'm telling y'all, if y'all only knew, like, my husband laughs at me because I be defending my blackness to the fullest. I'm like, I'm sensitive about my blackness. Like, I need to be accepted. My dad laughed at me because I was so excited at Amanda Goman. And because I heard about a poet and I was like, oh, Poet and Amanda, because I missed it. I went to do something with the kids, so I had to rewind and watch the inauguration. Baby, when I found out she was a dark-skinned woman named Amanda, I lost it. I was like, yes. I don't know why. For me. It was representation for me. It was from God. I don't know. But I was so happy. So, and actually, John, if you go to, it was my podcast episode before the last one, it was the Black Love Affect. From a male perspective, we touch on that topic as well, about how toxic that is for men to like say that about, dark-skinned women, light-skinned women, and compare the two, because maybe that's kind of what's wrong with relationships today. We're focusing on the wrong things. But
I've heard too that the preference is because, and not necessarily a light-skinned woman, but I've heard that men like to have a biracial woman because apparently having white in you makes you not as crazy as Black women.
I encourage y'all to ask my husband if that's true.
I was just thinking the same thing. I don't think that has any
crazy from both sides, honestly.
Might be double crazy.
You don't know how to react. Yeah, that's not.
Or more submissive too, which is also a myth.
I'm just gonna. I'm so glad he's working today.
You gotta bust in there like,
right? Like, oh no, let me tell y'all. But first of all, being submissive is also not exclusive to a race either. Again, my beautiful older sister, Lachana, gorgeous dark-skinned woman. She literally helps me on a regular basis. She is a wife advocate. She calls, for millennial marriages, for millennial wives, and she helps me so much in explaining, the submissive portion as far as spiritually goes and how that's helping. Because honestly, it's not really about your spouse as much as it is the lifestyle that you want. So it's just all about education and how you look at it. Because we talked about on the one episode out in college how, because I pointed the question why it seems like Black men, when they get successful, I wish that they would, bring our sisters up in their success too. A lot of successful Black men seem to have white wives. Of course, I have no issue with this, y'all. My mama is white, so hear me out. But this is a comment that I've heard come up a few times. So we talked about it. It's demand effect. That's what we did. So we talked about it, and my brother pointed out, he was like, well, I think it starts in college because a lot of times, the Black women, they're busy, they're getting their education, they're there to be serious so they can be taken seriously in the world. Not that white women aren't getting their education, but they don't think about taking it seriously. They're not on their P's and Q's as much because, they're already accepted. So Black women are, fighting to be accepted. So they're trying to get this education to prove themselves, to make sure they're worth being in these rooms that they're going to be in. So they don't have time to go to your games if it's like, athletic stuff, because they're also doing their work. So they may not be at everyone and supporting you as far as, the white women who are at the parties. They're always there, doing whatever they do. So that's just where they meet. And I never put two and two together like that. And I still don't like it, but, but that's where men come in as far as like, the support and what their mom has done for them and their feeling. And that's a lot how they choose their wives. So I can understand that to a certain extent. But that doesn't mean I have to like it. How do you feel about that point of it, that side of things as far as it?
I mean, I could definitely understand it. I guess if I don't know. See, to me, when I think about it starting in college, I think about people being so young, and I think about the way you think when you're that age. So I can't be mad at that because there's nobody, and somebody can put in the comments if they think I'm wrong, but there's nobody between the ages of 18 to 24 that knows what's going on with their life and who they are and how they need to choose things at all. You just don't. That doesn't even come into play yet.
You don't even know that though until you're like 25, 27. You think you have it figured out. You think you know.
I'm 33. I don't know what's going on. I got no clue, okay? I'm hoping by 40 I figure it out. Maybe not even that, but I think it's a very immature statement to say to be that way, because somebody didn't support you while they're trying to do what they have to do for themselves. And I think it's awesome if there are young Black women who are being selfish, because I didn't become selfish until a few years ago, and I wish I would have a lot earlier.
Yep, same. Literally 2 years ago. And I always do things extra. Like I'm like, oh, I'm not going to be selfish. Then I go all the way and being too selfish. I find my middle ground.
That's about balance.
Yeah, life is about balance. But so also, I think that we need to embrace or make normalize even those mixed races who decide to identify with one or the other race. I think that that's perfectly fine. That's what makes it easier for you. Then do that. I don't choose, but if somebody looks at me, then they assume that I'm Black. Awesome. Like I'm not ashamed of it. It's not a dog to my white side. I'm just also proud to be looked at as that, because why not? I'm a woman doing great things. I'm successful. I have a family, a beautiful Black family that, people claim that aren't around anymore. Parents aren't together. So yeah, absolutely. I'm going to own it. I'm going to add to the goodness that they keep stripping away from us. They keep trying to tear us down and strip it away. So yeah, I identify as being a Black woman 90% of the time because that's where society put me, okay? That's where they've laid me. And I'll never understand it. I was so shocked. My mom was the one who actually pointed it out when I introduced her to people. She was used to it, of course. But she was like, Amanda, They had no idea I was white. I was like, what do you mean, Mom? I was like, clearly I'm mixed. I thought it was obvious. But she was like, no, go ask him. So I did. Because I was like, did y'all know my mom with this? Like, no, like, that's your birth mother. And that's when I got that. I'm like, are y'all kidding me? There's no way. There's absolutely no way. Like, but it is what it is. And I just hope that people, like you said, we need a platform to talk about this more. And honestly, I'm going to give, some credit to Barack Obama as far as me being able to just sit in my blackness as much as I wanted to, because he is a biracial man. His mom is white. His grandparents are white, but he was totally okay with, us calling him our first Black president, because he is. Because again, that goes towards the compliment, that goes towards the community, that goes towards the history. And I was just like, why did I care? Because at first I was trying to like, oh, he's mixed. And then I had a good talking to with one of my sisters. They always get this together. But because I was so excited, I'm like, yes, we're being represented. Because I never identified. But then when they said that to me, they was like, Amanda, like, why? No, let him, be Black. He's for us. Let him be for us. And that's totally fine. And I was like, that makes so much sense. And why does it matter? Why does it matter exactly at the end of the day? But,
right.
But like you said, people, which is amazing, because people will tell me I don't understand from either side of the spectrum as far as what Black communities go through or how white people feel or don't feel about racism. And I look at them like, I think I'm somebody who would actually understand the most, but okay.
Yeah, I think so too.
Well, and honestly, again, I've been really, really fortunate to not have to not blatant racism that I know that my husband has dealt with, and my sisters have dealt with, and my brothers dealt with, my dad. Like, I have been so blessed not to be a deal with that. Yeah, I'm sensitive. I'd have probably been somewhere in the corner. I'd have never went nowhere. Yeah, don't try me. Like, but it's just one of those things that we can only make better, but we have to make it better through our kids, I think, like leave it for the next generation. But doing that is by having these conversations openly, giving different opinions, different views on how you think, how you feel, sharing stories. And it was even back in elementary school. I'm not gonna say where I went because I don't want to jack up the district, because it's fine now. But there was only a few Black people in the school. So when me and my sisters came, it almost became a territorial thing with the Black people. Like, no, we are accepted here. These are our white people. And I was like, I don't really care. What do you mean? Like, I didn't know I had to care. So it's just what the world gives you to deal with or to not to deal with. And I don't like it. So I wanted to stop, especially with my Black queens, because I love y'all. I just love y'all. And I'll be the first to stick up for anybody who thinks otherwise.
I think that thinking about this, I thought about the comment that Brittany put when we talked about this, about her daughter just now starting to, have to deal with these types of things. And I think it's important so that somebody like her, a young woman coming up, knows that this is something other people have went through, and this is the way to kind of deal with it. And if you or I can be those people, or anybody can be those people to say that, because I don't know about you, but I'm going to assume I didn't have that, somebody to tell me, oh, I went through the same thing, or that, you have your white parent who's trying to tell you, give you the influence and trying to tell you it's okay. And those people are those people. And then you have the Black parent trying to do the same thing. But when you have somebody who's actually been through it and actually living it and can explain it to you, I feel like it means a lot more, because it is somebody who's been in your shoes before. And correct. When you're a young woman, especially, things are so tough when you get to that early teenage, and you are just trying to fit in, because you do want everyone to like you, and because you think everyone should like you.
Exactly. Listen. Just love y'all, because I love y'all, and I don't know why, because y'all get on my nerve most of the time. But I do. I love y'all. I honestly feel like also with you saying that it really, I think that for the moms out there who are dealing with this, and dads who are dealing with this with their kids, because boys go through it too. I know that we always talk about women because we can identify it more, but I don't think that, young boys don't get, discriminated against for being light skinned either. But boys are not worried about stuff like that. Like
they got all the memes though, the light skinned guy memes.
Which is sad because my nephew made that face the other day, and me and Chris both was like, "Okay, with your light skin face." See, I'm not perfect, y'all. I fall short too, so I'm just saying we just have to work on this together, okay?
Me too. I try to make memes out of my son sometimes when he does.
You gonna leave Cash alone?
So I fall short too.
We fall short. Nobody thinks that you're going to be perfect all the time, but having these conversations though is going to help, because when you said that, I was like, dang, and I absolutely did that the other day. It helps me call myself on my own crap. I want to hold y'all accountable. I'm gonna hold myself accountable. I want y'all to hold me accountable as well. So for me, I encourage moms and dads to talk to their kids. And if you can identify with them, if you don't have any help for them or any stories, please reach out to somebody. And I encourage all my mixed and Black women to be open to that, if a white woman comes to you and asks you a question, I pray that you guys walk in with loving arms and an open heart, because they're trying to do better by their kids. And we're going to have to start helping them out if they don't know, but we want them to teach them this stuff. Like, we're going to have to be willing to have those conversations. We're going to have to be willing to be that person. Because like I said, I wasn't around a lot of adult Black women growing up. And we definitely wasn't around a mixed woman growing up. It wasn't a thing. Like, I was going to sit here trying to think who do I know? I can't think of anybody.
Right. Yeah.
Now that we're out there, we that we're willing to have these conversations. Hey, Dusenberry. We're having these conversations. We're open up about it. Please, just reach out. I actually spoke to some middle schoolers this past week, and I was just basically encouraging them, because I mentioned that how in middle school, I got pulled, being, oh, you're not Black enough, or you're not white enough. And that's like the most beautiful time, because kids are so innocent, but they're starting to develop their personalities and who they are. And they don't have to think about the roughness of life yet. And they're just having fun and exploring. And so just being authentic to who you actually are as a human being, being, confident in what you're doing, what you're saying, and what music it was always down to music for me. What music you listen to. It's what you like. And I remember forcing myself to like other stuff. It wasn't until years later, I was like, I don't really enjoy rap. Apparently it's called trap music. I just found this out. Trap music. I can listen to it, it's cool, but if I'm reaching for something, it's gonna be 90s R&B. I don't know what to tell you. To this day, I'm getting down to 90s R&B
every day.
Recently, it's been her, because baby girl gives me 90 R&B vibes.
Yeah, I love her.
Oh, listen, it's my girl. So, but other than that, yeah, just be willing to have these conversations and being open to different things, because they may be going through something different. I don't know. These kids are very different than we were in school, and you're going to have different kids. But like I said, we have to change the narrative now, and it's going to start with our kids. That's just how we change it with them, with these babies growing up. And that also means talking to your other children who may not be mixed, about hey, make sure you understand that everybody just has a choice, because letting your kids, regardless of race, gender, or whatever, making sure they feel comfortable in their skin makes them not want to make somebody else feel uncomfortable in theirs, if that makes sense. So
absolutely.
I was trying to read that and I accidentally took it off. I'll put it back up. Things was made by society. Yeah, correct. Yep. Yeah, the Cuban, that is something, the community, it brings me back to Evelyn from Basketball Wives, how she was basically, she got in because she was saying something that she had a colorism problem, because she's Black, but some Cubans, that's kind of where they sent it from, and Hispanics and stuff like that. Yeah. That's huge. That was such a good point, John. Thank you so much for bringing that up, because that is real. That's so real. And so many people forget that too. That was something I learned. Don't laugh. It was a show that I watched on Netflix. I think it was called One Day at a Time. that was like a thing. Y'all late, okay? I'm late bloomer. So yeah, that's their history and their culture, but honestly it's education. And then like, hey, school systems, what are we teaching our children? Like, yes, we're going to teach them at home too, but how can we actually, bring that concrete evidence and stuff? Because we teach them what we know, what we experience, but there's so many different things out there that they need to know about other cultures, other races, religion, and spirituality and stuff like that. Those need to be more things that are being taught.
No, they're failing at that miserably.
Miserably. We're not gonna get on that. Listen, no,
that'll be a whole nother hour.
It will, but I will say this because since it's Black History, I think that it's important for me to let this message out there. I've said it on several occasions, but slavery is not our history. It's a part of the story. But when we talk about history, we talk about celebrations and things like that. I need people to start teaching Black, celebrations, Black achievements, and how many inventions that the Black community has invented, like the things that's happened, the lengths that we've come. Like, I love y'all. We know about Martin Luther King, Rosa Parks, and Harriet Tubman. I want y'all to mention those all year long, but I need y'all to be very specific about the ones that nobody knows about. I need those names. Our education start teaching our children something new. You're just telling them something that they've learned year after year after year.
My son literally said that to me the other day, that he's learning this. He's like, Mom, I already know everything they're teaching us because it's always the same thing.
My daughter said the same thing. She was like, I was like, what are they, what are you guys talking about? Black history. She was like, we're learning about Harriet Tubman, even though I learned about her last year. And I'm like, ugh. And then they did a trivia question every morning. And I'm like, so they're giving you trivia questions on things they've never taught you. Cool. So I'd ask them what the trivia question was, what the answer was, and then we talk about it. So parents, I need you guys to understand that it's always going to start with us. Our educational system is never going to be perfect for us, our children, and our households, but we're going to have to try a little bit better and a little harder to educate them, because in the process, I'm educating myself. Don't get me wrong, my dad did talk to us, but I wasn't listening. I had things to do. Okay.
Hopefully your kids don't got things to do.
AJ definitely does. He definitely has. He ain't got time. Well, I appreciate your time so much, Shanelle. Is there anything in closing that you would like to say?
Just that we should keep having these types of conversations, and it can be about any type of race. We all have to come together on this. And I know in John's comment, he put on there is one race, the human race, and we really have to tap into that and realize that.
I love it. That was beautiful. I agree so much. Thank you again for being on here. I really want to thank everybody for joining me today, and for your comments. Please share this. I definitely think this is a topic that needs to be talked about. If you guys have any questions or comments, please leave the comments whenever you watch it. If you watch it by replay, I will definitely be putting this up on my audio platform so you can hear it there. So reach out. You have a question, you have a concern, you have a child, or you've gone through it yourself and you just want to say, hey, I know what you mean, or anybody, just anything, never hesitate to reach out to me. Amanda Jean Dukes on Facebook, or Amanda Affect on Instagram. You guys can reach me or email me at amanda@dukesmultimedia.com. I know some people like emails. But I love you guys. Have a wonderful day. I'm gonna go enjoy my birthday. Thank you. Bye. Oh, no, wait. As always, be authentic to yourself and others. Be authentic to yourself and others. Please, please, please. That's my birthday gift. I want you guys to make sure that you do that, because that's where the world goes rounds. And just one more time, because your girl's not too proud, if you want to send me some birthday love, there's my Cash App. You guys have a beautiful Sunday and a blessed week. We'll see you next time.